Some defense analysts say the deployment of the South African National Defence Force in areas ravaged by crime in the Western Cape, Eastern Cape and Gauteng provinces cannot be supported and condoned. President Cyril Ramaphosa, in his State of the Nation address speech last week, said the deployment of soldiers will assist the police in dealing with crime in these areas, as well as rampant gangsterism. The SABC's Mkhokheli Bandla reports.
Last week, Ramaphosa announced that soldiers will be deployed in Gauteng and Western Cape to help stabilize volatile communities. However, there are questions about what soldiers can realistically achieve on the ground and whether they are equipped for this kind of operation.
The announcement by the President to deploy our soldiers in the streets against our own citizens can never be supported and condoned in a constitutional democracy like ours. This is more so where we have a dilapidated and defunded defence force with very poor defence capabilities left, and a South African police service with a budget 3 times that of the defence force and with many more policemen and women than what the defence force has available.
Government has turned to the military before in times of crisis with mixed results. The key concern now is whether this intervention will deliver lasting impact or repeat past shortcomings.
This deployment in support of the South African Police Service is a strong indication of a serious structural challenge and deficit and a decay within the police service capabilities and their commitment. The primary constitutional mandate of the police service is to protect and safeguard our citizens and people within the borders of South Africa, while that of the Defence Force is to protect the integrity of our land and secure the safety of our people from threats coming from outside of our borders. The primary training objectives of our soldiers is not to do policing work within our borders, while they can assist on a very short term and with a very specific in and out mandate and objectives.
But beyond operational challenges, there are growing concerns about the risks of deploying soldiers in civilian spaces and what this means for communities already living in fear.
If not, it can give the impression of a more militarized state, which is devastating for our democracy and for investors' confidence. Rather address the challenges and deficits within the police service on an urgent and quick basis and let the Defence Force be repositioned and reprioritized to protect our land borders, maritime terrain and our airspace. We need strong and decisive political and operational leadership and an adequate budget to support such a new Defence Force prioritized strategy.
Stakeholders on defense say deployment of soldiers is set to become a major flashpoint. They say it will test whether government's tough talk on crime is matched by a clear strategy, firm timelines, and a credible plan to dismantle gangs for good. Mkhokheli Bandla, SABC News, Parliament.
Meanwhile, South Africa's Deputy Defence Minister, Major General retired Bantu Holomisa, has confirmed that members of the SANDF are ready to be deployed to support police operations. He now joins us to discuss this further. Major General Holomisa, thank you for joining us and good morning.
Good morning. Good morning to you and to our listeners.
So you've welcomed the deployment of troops to assist police in violent areas in South Africa. Can you tell us why that is?
I'm the Deputy Minister of Defense and I carry orders as a disciplined soldier myself. So I cannot argue when we are confronted with an assessment of the security threat of South Africa, where people cross borders carrying weapons, others hijack vehicles, others violating the policies of South Africa where they just go and mine for themselves. So what we are doing now, in line with the orders from the President, the Minister of Police said in 10 days we will be on the ground. So we are ready to do the work. Yes, I've heard the people saying, why deploy soldiers? There is precedents or precedences in this country where soldiers have been deployed, even under the apartheid. They were deployed to assist the police. Defense force members do not have powers to arrest. That power rests with the police. But if the police and the state intelligence have assessed the situation that it is dangerous to use police only, Defense Force is not going to fold its arms there. Their responsibility also, among others, is to make sure that South Africa is safe. So when you have people moving in South Africa carrying weapons, then what must we do? I'm not interested in theories. We've done this before. All what we should be looking at is to assess the negative things which were done in the past and make sure that when we issue orders to the troops, they know exactly what's the mission. The other thing which we need to look at for a long-term solution in this, people are complaining about flooding of drugs in South Africa. Where are they coming from? Can the people who are going to chase around the townships and the cities have access or capacity to order drugs from South America and other countries? The answer is no. But who are the kingpins? So the police and state intelligence must give us thorough intelligence, hardcore intelligence, so that we can attend and visit these places and arrest those who are bringing these unnecessary products in this country.
As we mentioned before, the provinces of the Eastern Cape, Western Cape and Gauteng are going to be covered here. What else can you share with us in terms of strategy and logistics? You mentioned that intelligence is needed.
In terms of the strategy, there's nothing I can share with you. Otherwise, I will be alerting the criminals to hide whatever. But one of the principles of war is surprise, speed and control. But the important one is surprise. So what we are doing now is to get a briefing, thorough briefing from the intelligence, military intelligence, state security agency, as well as police crime intelligence. Out of that, then we can say, all right, we move in at night, we move in during the day, or the other, we drop troops to patrol the area. So those details are not for public consumption for now.
How would communities receive the deployment of the army in their areas? Because another argument is that soldiers are not police. Or they may be trained in ways that are perhaps too heavy-handed and therefore cannot instill public order. Does training type matter here?
The training and also the briefing is important to those who will be deployed. But that theory you're advancing has been overtaken by events in the past where we have deployed soldiers. I was in charge, for instance, in Transkei, in charge of Transkei government then. This is the policy at national level, even under de Klerk, even under Mandela, Cyril Ramaphosa. The defense will always be ready to assist the police. We're not taking over the police duties. But if there are criminals who shoot at policemen, how many police have died here being shot by the criminals? That means, therefore, we need a little bit of support from the army. And that is going to be done this in 10 days.
As you say, it has been done before. We do have lessons in the country that we can draw from. If we even look at the example of COVID-19, can we use that development as a measuring stick for this time around in this deployment?
Definitely. That's why there has to be a debrief or briefing to the troops when they are given orders to say, remember the incident which happened on this. Remember the incident where soldiers were reported to be kicking civilians. That will not be tolerated this time around. So those are the small things which must be told and ironed out before we deploy so that we instill discipline.
Your message then finally, Major General, to the people of South Africa, those communities that this deployment is going to be assisting, and also maybe a message to how gangsterism will be dealt with besides the public order that needs to be instilled.
Well, we are just hoping that we'll get cooperation. We're asking for cooperation with the communities of South Africa who will be affected. But rest assured that those who have been chased away by criminals in their homes, those who have hijacked buildings in those areas, we will make sure that those people return back to their homes. We can't allow criminals to toss us around in this country.
Thank you so much. We'll leave it there for now. We appreciate your time and your insights.
Thank you very much, man. Thank you.
Our pleasure. That's South Africa's Deputy Minister of Defence, Major General Retired Bantu Holomisa, giving us analysis on the deployment of soldiers in South Africa to assist the police in tackling crime, with certain areas targeted there, which are seen as hotspots that are ravaged by crime. The provinces of the Western Cape, Eastern Cape and Gauteng provinces have been mentioned. Whether that will be extended to other parts of the country remains to be seen. And then the criticism, of course, that comes with that, and him allaying fears for the communities to be assured that this will be in their best interest. Yeah, so that's that chat. We'll leave it there for now. Still to come, we've got our sports update and our business updates from the African perspective. We'll be bringing you those here on Rise and Shine. Right now, though, it's time for our news headlines. It's 8:30 Central African time. We say good morning to Jolani Tulo Ngwepe.